I am here with Donna Davis, also known as Dona D, who is the one of the DJs on Batcave Radio, which is on WKDU 91.7 in Philadelphia. She's also one of my sisters in hip hop, and we are going to talk about women in hip hop and her experiences. So, I want to start out by asking you, what made you transition? I know you're a big fan of hip hop.
Yes.
How did you transition from being a fan to wanting to actively participate? And is this also, you can elaborate on your plans if it's to take this further?
Okay. Actually, I always wanted to do it, even as a child. Lady B on Power 99 was my inspiration. I used to sit there every Sunday listening to Street Beat, and I always said I wanted to do that. Not as much be a personality, but I actually wanted to learn how to DJ and cut and mix and all that stuff.
Can you do it a little bit?
No.
Okay.
I had a couple DJs that were willing to teach me growing up, but I didn't want to embarrass myself, so I just never put myself out there to do it. Because not only a fan of hip hop, I'm also just a fan of music in general. So that's probably where it started, and I just remember hip hop beginning with, like Sugar Hill Gang and all that. I was probably like 4 years old, but I bit the bug then, and I loved it ever since.
Next question, which is, what's the experience like being the only woman? Because there are 3 guys at least.
Actually, 5. It's 5. Yeah, it's 5.
You're a very attractive woman.
Well, funk I've known since I was about 13.
Okay.
So it's kind of like a brother-sister thing, and as I've gotten to know some of the other guys that are on the show with me, it's starting to get into like a brother and sister type love. We're like family. They tease me, I tease them, so the most people, come in, the artists that come in, they might be like, oh, what's up with her or whatever, but they don't step over that line, so they keep it straightly professional.
Donna has a big following in the pen.
State Road. I mean, a lot of our listeners are incarcerated, and true. They're up, they're listening, because we're on from 12 a.m. to 3 a.m. And, the average person got to get up and go to work the next day. So a lot of our fans are incarcerated in the Philadelphia area.
I feel like there's an obvious absence of female MCs right now. Why do you think that's happening?
That's a good question. I don't know, like, they started off really strong, like with the MC Light and the Salt and Pepper and Queen Latifah, but then we sort of kind of got lost somewhere with the Foxy Browns and the Little Kims, like being the sex symbols, and we haven't really progressed from that. Like, we don't have, I'm trying to think of any really thorough female that are out there rapping anymore.
I keep thinking about it because
I'm thinking about like Nicki Minaj, for example.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a big fan. I don't dislike her. Mm-hmm. I haven't really heard a lot of her stuff, but she's kind of caught in the middle, because I think lyrically I understand where she's going, but then you got the sex symbol Lil' Kim, Foxy Brown kind of
Minaj.
Yeah, Minaj. So she's kind of trapped in the middle to me of maybe a real good female lyricist and that sex.
I was having this conversation with Yanni, who's also going to be part of the site, and we were talking about the idea that it seems like every female has to come up under a crew or some dude.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily know that it's always been that way.
You know what? I don't think MC Light.
They were her brothers, though, and she was.
But she didn't come out underneath them. Like, if you look at like Salt and Pepper, kind of came out. Herbie was writing their stuff in the beginning, and he kind of came out like that. MC Light kind of just. I never saw her with Milk or doing anything with them. She kind of came out on her own. Foxy kind of came out under like Jay.
I'll let you know.
No, I'm just thinking like
It's
Kim
alleged
came
that
out under
Jay
Biggie,
wrote
you know.
her lyrics. Kim came out under Biggie.
Yeah, so
Remy under what?
Nicki.
K-Slay, I guess you would say. Cool. Remy. Did she come up on her own? Or no, Pun. Sorry.
Pun, yeah.
Is it impossible for a woman to get a deal without having some guy there, minus any implications, because there are many for a lot of the women that we mentioned in terms of their relationships with that benefactor? But is it possible? I mean, you have someone like a Jean Grey who nobody even hears of.
But everybody on that knows of her and listens to her says how awesome she is, but she doesn't have that notoriety, you know, that comes along with a lot of those other females that have come out under men. That's, I don't know, I'm stumped. That's a good one.
We obviously have to talk about the video vixen, we'll say, video models. And I personally tend to feel like a lot of the reasons why it's become so hard for female MCs is because the place of the female in hip hop has now become solely that video model. But thoughts on their presence? I mean, to be fair, I guess there have always been eye candy in hip hop, but something seems to have.
They've changed. Because if you look at an old video, you know, they got the high-waisted jeans on. They might have a turtleneck on. You know, they're just maybe an attractive-looking girl, whereas now they're like half naked. But then if you look at, you know, rock and stuff like that, they've always had, you know, the gorgeous females in their videos too. So I think it's just a matter of us catching up with what has been going on in music the whole time. Not to say that I don't really agree with it, because you're kind of exploiting the black woman. You know, it's bad enough that we got enough issues going on that we don't need that exploitation in the same place.
I would venture to draw some conclusions between our actual relationships and what happens visually. It's not even so much about eye candy. If you think about maybe what happens in the XXLs where, you know, women are in photo spreads, they're still very questionable. But I feel like sometimes I look at videos and it's not even the person's head. Like, it's just, you know, an ass or, you know, some tatas or something. Like, I feel like it's even that the woman has been separated from the body part. Something interesting that was suggesting that this is our way, or the black man's way of reestablishing beauty and saying this is my aesthetic, and that we should look at this as a compliment.
You can take it that way in some, because if you look at it, like say in the 80s, it was all about, you know, light skin, female, light skin and long hair. But as it progressed and into the 90s, you know, it became the brown skin, all about the brown skin girl, the natural looking girl, the girl that actually looks black. And that, I mean, it's come a long way, because, you know, a lot of the dark skinned girls don't have that figure or didn't have that symbol growing up, and now they have. Like, you see them, it's so more common now.
Have you ever been in a situation where you were treated like a bitch or hoe because that is the assumption, or you're in this circle, or perhaps women are most frequently treated a certain way? So no. Okay.
Like I said, earlier when I was saying, you know, a guy, an artist, a male artist might come in and, you know, be all like, oh, what's up with Dona D, to maybe one of the guys, but they don't cross that line. Like, they keep it strictly professional, and they give me a lot of respect, because they don't see me. I'm not in there doing all that silly stuff. I'm in there doing exactly what the guys are doing. I don't come in there flashy or, you know, with cleavage or my butt hanging out, my jeans or nothing like that. I come in there like how I would walk down the street every day, how I would go to work. I come in there the same way. And, you know, when they sit there and see how I interact with everybody else, I'm cool like just one of the fellas. So they don't even go there.